Hello everyone, I'm here today to show you my first DT project for Tresors Deluxe for the month of August. And this time around it was actually my daughter's idea, the project I made. She came home and I was showing her my DT package that I'd received, and we were talking about the applique pieces. And she said, "What is that?" And I said, "Well, that's usually what you wear on the front of a dress or perhaps a wedding dress." And so she asked if I could alter a corset type garment for her. And I thought, well, what a wonderful idea. So here I have my lovely daughter, who I'm not going to show fully. And this is the corset I've altered for her using all the beautiful Tresors Deluxe laces. And I will show you in better detail a little bit later how I've used the laces. But as you can see, I've used the beautiful fluffy trim around the waistline here. I've also used it as arm bands, like mini sleeves, and it's almost got a ballerina kind of look. I've used the beautiful bling trim around her neck as a necklace for the time being, but I've made it in a way that, you know, if I ever want to reuse it for something else, it would be quite easy to take apart. The skirt of the costume, I suppose you could call it, is actually one that we found a few years ago at a thrift shop. It was a long puffy skirt made of tulle. And it has come in so handy for my girls as they've been growing up. They've used it under various costumes or dress-ups, or even just nice dresses that they wanted to have a little bit more volume in them. So if you ever come across one, you've got daughters or granddaughters, please pick one up because they just come in so handy. Now this corset, after she's worn it, will be going on my dress form when I eventually get my craft room. I do have a dress form, but it's in storage at the moment, so this will also go into storage, so when she comes out of storage she can go on it. So there we go. That is the lovely corset that I've altered. And if you could just turn around for a moment, Jessica, turn around. And this is how I've done the back of the dress here as well, and the sleeves. Okay, I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so this is the actual bodice when it's not on the body, and this is probably an easier way for me to show you what I've done. So this is the closure of the corset at the back with all the hook rings going down. And this first lace, although it looks a bit loose in this picture here, that's elastic, so that stretches out when it's worn or put on a dressmaking dummy. And for that I've used this lace here. In fact, I've used this lace a lot in the corset. I've used it all around the base of the bust line there. I've used this part here because it actually bends quite nicely, and I've used the flowers sporadically through just to sort of blend the ivories and the whites together. So as you can see, this is a very it's a wonderful lace for playing with and doing things like that. And I still have enough of this left to do some sort of, you know, book binding, because I thought it would be excellent for that as well. So that's one lace that I've used on the corset. The next one, of course, you can see is this particular lace here, and I've used this a lot as well. I've used this like shell-like look here on the cup of the corset. I've cut it into 3 separate pieces and sewn it around the cup. It just had the perfect shape for that. It's almost got like a mermaid appeal, doesn't it? And that's on both cups. And of course these little emblems in here I have used to once again combine the ivory and the white laces together, and I think it did a lovely job on that. The next lace I've used is this beautiful trim here, absolutely gorgeous, and I've used that down the center here on both sides. Oh, okay. I also used this lace here on the back, a strip of it down here, because that was the strips that I used from this part. That was the leftover bit, and that filled that gap up nicely there. Another lace that I've used is this particular one here, which is a lovely lace, and I've used that down here and here, and in between I've put those little offcuts and then the white flowers on top of that. I've also used that's the same. I've also used this lace here, but what I did was I cut the dangles off it, and this is on this part next to the back here, and I just cut the dangles off that and used it there, and it did a really nice job there. I also used this particular lace, but I don't have any left of that, so I can't show you a full picture of that, but I will put links to all the laces down in the description box below. This lace here, what I did was I cut one of the parts out and then I cut it in half like that, so you're left with that part there, and I actually put that on the top part of the cup, you know, in between the appliques and the shell-like part. The appliques, we have the dangly applique trim in the center here, and then I had another one which I cut in half. It had the lovely sequins on it as well with the colors in it, and I placed half on top there and half on top there, and the little bit that was left I actually cut off and put the little dangle further down here just to sort of blend it in. This applique here is an applique all on its own, as you can see, as one, and that's in the center there. So there's actually 3 appliques, 1, 2, and this one here, which is number 3. I did add just a little bit of beaded trim here, just to add a little bit of glitz, and that was some beaded trim, a flat beaded trim that Linda, who is Crafty Linny P on YouTube, sent me. So thank you for that, Linda. That came in very useful. And on the back of the garment I've used this trim here, which was actually the top part of this trim here. After I'd used all the bits off it, I was left with that top part, so I used that to just finish off the top of the corset at the back. Okay, so that is the body of the costume, and for the sleeves, of course, I used this beautiful trim, and under it I've just got an elastic lace that June sent me. Thank you, June. As you can see, it's stretchy, and to put it on, because you know you have to have a bit of give, I've just sewn it in between each of the lovely bows so that you know it has that stretch there when it's put on. And of course this is also around the top of the tulle skirt to finish that off as well. I made a little choker for her to wear out of the beautiful bling trim. Oops, I've got it tangled in a bit of lace. That's no good, is it? But I'd made it very simple because I'm not completely sure that's how I want to be using this bling trim permanently. So all I've done is added a couple of jump rings to each end of that, and attached 2 little pieces of ribbon, which is white and ivory, that Jean sent me. Thank you so much, Jean. And so that can be used, but easily enough to remove if I decide I want to use that bling trim on another project at some time. And like I said before, this is actually going to go on my dress form once I have a craft room up and running. Okay, I think I've covered everything, and I hope you liked the project I made. It was a lot of fun to work on. It did take quite a while. I got a bit of a sore finger now from all the hand sewing. Shall I show you? You can see there's all that hand stitching in there. So yeah, if you've got an old corset or bustier or whatever you like to call them, and you no longer fit into it, but your dress form does, you know what you can do with it. It's a beautiful way to showcase such beautiful, beautiful laces, and you get to admire them all the time as well. So I really hope you like this project, and thank you for joining me today. Bye bye.